Christopher, NFLPA team report card. Jets, the only team to get an F in ownership. Your thoughts on that?
There probably should be a couple of others, an F in ownership. Has Jerry Jones done anything that's significant? I mean, geez. I love Arthur Blank, but, he didn't hire Belichick, brought Raheem Morris in there. That's not the answer. I don't know. I mean, I think there's probably more than one, but Woody Johnson has been the owner of this team off and on. The Johnson family, he did go the 4 years as the ambassador to Great Britain, but for the most part, they got the longest playoff drought. This is a bad team. They don't have I think they got a good coach, but who knows about the GM? Probably not a great team. They don't have a quarterback. He's run a lot of people off. His decision to fire Saleh after 5 games was not the right one, as it turned out. Yeah, I have no problem with that. He's got to be considered the worst owner in football. I'd have to think of there's probably a couple of more. I hate to put Atlanta in that spot, but, they haven't done anything in a long time. The Saints ownership situation isn't great. You'd have to consider that. I mean, they spent all that money on Carr. Dennis Allen, they haven't, and let's be honest, Jerry Jones, now they've been competitive and they've had some good years, but, that team is, their coaching situation is always spotty. Brian Schottenheimer, really? They had some chances to make a run at Belichick. They didn't get him. I'd be a little worried about the Cowboys, too. They're not as desperate as the Jets are, but the Cowboys aren't great.
No, but at least they're being selectively aggressive. I mean, what the hell does that even mean?
That's a good point. Who the hell knows? I mean, last year, they let, again, everybody screamed and yelled about Derrick Henry. I like what Parsons said in his podcast. Even if they had Derrick Henry, they probably still wouldn't have won, and he's right. But, yeah, they got some problems. It's not a good team. They're not a great defensive team. They got some good defensive players, but they're not a great defensive team. Even in the postseason, they're not great. And, Prescott's pretty good. He's not great. They only got the one receiver. They don't really have a running back. Zach Martin quits. They got problems, Dallas, and I don't like the coach. So if you put all of that together, Dallas is a mess, too. The Giants' coaching situation isn't great right now either. I mean, I know they won 4 Super Bowls, so you can't put John Mara in the Woody Johnson phrase, but, I mean, he hired Pat Shurmur. He hired Joe Judge. Dable's had 2 bad years after the opening good one. He's had some GMs. The Giants, no quarterback. The Giants aren't exactly thriving. So I put the Giants, Suzy, in that category. Not as bad as Woody, but I put him in that category, too.
Yeah, and you got to wonder what they're going to think they're going to do at the draft, too. Because, I mean, they need so much help in so many places. It would make sense to try to get Abdul Carter no matter what. Because they have so many holes to plug.
Well, they got to get a quarterback. I mean, it sounds like they want to take the Penn State kid. Maybe they will take him with that 3rd pick, but they have to get a quarterback. There's not a quarterback there on campus that they can rely on. I don't think they're getting – I don't know if they love Sanders and or Cam Ward. Stafford's $50 million, plus you got to make a trade with the Rams to get him. They're not bringing Rodgers in. Donald's not coming back to New York. I guess they could try Kirk Cousins, but, I don't know if they really are in love with that either. A mess with the Giants at the game's most important position. You're 100%. And the Jets, too. Both of them. You're 100% right.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S. Search Rich Eisen Show on your Roku device for daily replays.